Okay, so today we're going to be looking at how we can use Zoom as a teaching tool when we have students learning from a whole lot of different venues, including, I guess, at school, but most likely at home. Zoom has a whole lot of controls that are available to us that wasn't available for us originally in Google Meet. And we've found that this is actually a really effective way of being able to do that face-to-face type of learning with other students. So to start, I found it easier if I just go to a web browser and type in innaburra.zoom.us. That's the address for Zoom, and it brings me in here, and I have a few options which I can jump straight to, but I'm actually going to go to sign in. And here I've got a meeting that I'd set up before as a little test. I'm just going to delete that one. And so I have a place where it tells me my upcoming meetings, my previous meetings, my personal meeting room, so I don't have to change rooms every time. I can just have people come to me each time, and some templates, which I haven't been using up until now. So I'm just going to go schedule a meeting, and I'm going to go, all right, this is a meeting with my Year 12 software class, so I'm going to go Year 12 software design. I'm going to pick the time that I want to do that, so I'm going to pick tomorrow, and I'm going to set it up for 1:30 in the afternoon. The duration, it doesn't stop working after an hour, but it just gives the person who's joining it an idea of how long it's actually going to go for. Your time zones, Canberra and Melbourne. I doubt that's anything different at this point in time. Recurring meeting probably isn't really useful unless it's going to be the same time every week. Registration is not required of our students. So to host a meeting, you should be registered, but for students to join, it's better that you say not required. Generate automatically the meeting ID unless you want to use your personal meeting room every single time. But I personally would believe no, that's not the right choice, because for different classes you don't want them just jumping in on other people's ones. There's a passcode which stops random people from jumping in. You don't actually need to tell the students that passcode, but just by turning it on, it gives you an extra level of security. And you can see here that we have ticked already waiting room. And waiting room, excuse me, is used to admit only the participants when the host is ready. So they come into this place where you know, oh, there's 20 students waiting, I'll admit them all, and then we can start our lesson for the day. And it stops them from doing things in your Zoom room before you're ready to actually supervise that. I normally leave my video off, my participants' video off at the start. I just accept that both students there. But I do actually like to mute the participants when we get to that point there. So I'm just going to press save, and that will actually generate my meeting for me. And you can see I've got all the details up here. I now have a link which I could click straight away, and that would help launch it, or I can press this start meeting here. Now, two ways that I could get this invitation to someone. I'm just going to click copy invitation, grab it. I'm actually going to send it to another computer that I've got. So I'm just going to put in my normal email address. I'm going to send it to me, because while I'm doing this, I'm going to try and do it from two iPads. So paste that in. And note it has all the link. It has the little password, but it's encrypted. It does actually tell you the password further down there. I'm just going to press send to myself. I'm going to then jump back over to here, and I'll make sure that's still copied. I also can share it to my class in Google, so classroom.google.com, by just making an announcement. So I'm going to jump into the Year 12 class. I'm not actually going to post this because I don't want my Year 12s to think that I'm actually doing one. But if I just jump in here, an announcement for the class, I can paste in all these details. I can get rid of the audio stuff at the bottom if we want to, because that should be all I'd need. I could post it, or I could schedule that for another point in time. Right. So I've set it up. I'm now ready to actually launch the meeting. So I'm just going to press over here. Actually, I'll just close the window. This works the same on a Windows machine or a Mac. And now I'm going to press the start the meeting. And that will actually launch my Zoom app. So here I am, I'm in Zoom, and it's starting to work for me. At this point in time, it's automatically unmuted my microphone. So right down here in the bottom left corner is the control for the mic. The little arrow that points up does give me a lot of different options to be able to work through here. And if I'm having any problems with sound, I often go to the test speaker and microphone. But I have a few things selected here, set up so that I can work from there. If you're using headphones, it may pop up as extra options. I have a few extra sound options as well. Then I have my video here. So I now have the possibility to press this and you can see me on the screen. I'm the only person who's in the Zoom call at this point in time. There is also an option to choose a couple other things here. Choose virtual backgrounds if you don't want people to be able to tell exactly what's in the back of the room. But I've stolen Stuart and Sue's office for this afternoon to be able to do the recordings. And so there's some things there that I'm not really that stressed if you see. As I walk across here security-wise, I've enabled the waiting room, which is great for the students. When they arrive, they won't come automatically in here. There's options to let participants share their screen. So if students want to show their work, that's great. There's a chat option, which I've got turned on at the moment. But if that becomes a distraction, you may choose to turn that off. And there's other things. So you can change some of those settings that we set up originally by going into this section here. Now, if I press participants, you can see that it's showing me over here. So I'm just going to go and jump into this same Zoom using my email that I sent myself a minute ago on my iPad, and I'm going to have two cameras working. So we're just going to pause for just a second there. Okay, so we now have two versions of me, and I have a bit of an echo in the room, so I'm just going to get the sound turned down on the other one. I'll be back in just a second again. Okay, the echo is slightly there, but I think it's still going to work reasonably well. One of the things I possibly can do is try and see if I could mute it. Okay, so here we go. There's two of us now in the room. I've got two iPad and computer working. So you see if I roll between one, I'll appear in the other. And that's allowing from there. Now, at the moment, my view is set to be gallery. But if I was trying to present, I'd probably get the students to actually switch across to the speaker view. I really do encourage you that when the students arrive initially, get them to mute their microphones. And if the cameras are a distraction, get them to mute their video cameras at different points in time, depending on what you're trying to do. The chat is available over here. So when I press the chat, it will appear on this section here. I can type messages to everyone. Or I can actually pick a list of the participants and I can direct message them as well. And that's a handy little thing. But when I go back to everyone in the meeting, note this little option here for files now. So if you needed to get a file to the students quickly, you can just press File and you can pick it from a whole lot of things, including your Google Drive, which is a really powerful thing to be able to use. You can share your screen. So you click on this button here and you can choose any of the screens that you have open. Traditionally, that would be something like a OneNote file or a PowerPoint file, but you can see there's a lot of different possibilities there. I'm not going to do that just for now. It is possible to do polls, so have a whole lot of questions. I haven't done a lot with that, but that does look very promising. An option to record, so to actually make a video recording of what we're currently doing. And then also a breakout room thing. So you can say, all right, I want to have 5 breakout rooms. I can let the students choose, or I can do it automatically, or I can manually say this is what I want the groups to be. And then I can create that, and then it will put people into rooms, and I can come in here and assign more people if I need to, and move them to other rooms as need be. And that means that they can have these little small discussions and then come back to a bigger discussion later on. So I'm just going to close that for now. Then there's also down the bottom here reactions. So people might want to give thumbs up. They might want to cry because it's just so hard. And there's a whole lot of different possibilities which you can use down here. And I encourage you to maybe have the students have their microphones muted, but give them to give you a thumbs up if they understand what you've just said, or a thumbs down if they don't. And they can do it through these particular parts here. And that can be a really helpful thing for you there as well. That's the basis of how Zoom works, is that Once all the students have their links, they can join in. They will need to have the Zoom app on their computers, but Zoom is actually pretty efficient in downloading and getting it up and running on their devices. Can be a really helpful, quick way of doing it. So when you're trying to make sure you can do those check-ins with the students to see how they're going and learning, some of us will even just leave a room open so that when a child struggles with something new, they can just pop in, ask a question, and then pop back out. But there's other points in time when you want to be able to communicate directly to the whole class, and this can also be very powerful as well.